So before we begin, we take a moment to recognize that here in Nevada, we stand on the land of the Washishu, Washoe, Numi, Northern Paiute, Nuwe, Western Shoshone, Nuwu, Southern Paiute. We take a moment to recognize and honor their stewardship that continues into today. With this recognition, we state an intention to rightfully include their voice and respect them as the 27 sovereign tribal nations of Nevada. Okay, Sue.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here. This should be a pretty interesting meeting. I am Sue Birch, having the honor of serving as executive director, and I've got the phenomenal board here. You just met Eva Love, who is our secretary and queen of muting everyone. Jerry Burton, who you're going to hear from in a minute. She is our Director of Membership and Volunteer Coordinator, and we're all going to wish her in the chat a very belated happy birthday from yesterday. Yay! Laura Campbell is floating around here somewhere. She is our Director of Action and does a phenomenal job with Instagram posts. Lenore Ing Briley is our treasurer. There she is. And as just, I don't know how we do it without her. I don't know if Shanzeh is here, but Shanzeh Aslam is our director of programs and our coalition coordinator. Samantha Glover, I know, is here. She's somewhere. I know she's driving her brother to drop him off. She is our director of youth outreach and has just completed her first year of college. So we're very proud of Samantha. Madalena Robertson, our queen of graphics, director of technology and media. And we're very, very proud of Madalena because she just received her master's degree in communications from UNLV. And unfortunately, she's going to University of North Carolina this fall to pursue her PhD. So as much as we're proud of her, we are definitely going to miss her. And then two people that we truly miss, but they're at a very important SEIU International Convention in Philadelphia. Michelle Maese, our Director of Outreach, and Sarah Evans, our Director of Fundraising. Yes, I have my cheat notes because I won't remember. This is going to be a pretty exciting event, and I thank you all for being here. But before we get started, I'm going to turn it over to birthday girl Jerry Burton to give us an update on membership.
Thank you, Sue. Yeah, it was yesterday, so we can get back to normal and not be birthdayed. But I turned 66, and every day is a gift, so it's a good thing. So I used to be the co-executive director, and now I'm in charge of volunteers and membership. So my job now is to remind everybody to either become a member of Nevada Now or to renew their membership. I've been bugging some people today about renewing. We depend on our volunteers and our members. That's how the organization is run. We're all volunteer. The membership fees are, what we fund a lot of our events with, and a lot of our and donations. So we're asking people to become a member of Nevada Now. We're saying to pursue equality for all and help build intersectional feminism in Nevada, that the more people that we have and the more members we have, the stronger and louder our voices are. So we hope you'll consider being a member. Also, because we're volunteer led, we've got a lot of things that we need volunteers for going into November: canvassing, postcard writing for our endorsed candidates. We'll be, I'm sure, doing some phone banking and all that. We're also, as most of you know, we're working with Nevadans for Reproductive Freedom for the ballot measure. We just filed the signatures, over 200,000 of them, and waiting for that to get approved so that it's on the ballot in November. And then we're going to be educating people about the ballot measure. We're going to be looking for storytellers, people to write op-eds. We'll be doing a lot of tabling. So there's a lot of areas for people who are really worried about abortion rights like we are to get involved. And then because Madalena is going to be, she's not leaving us, but she's going to be busy away from Nevada, we're looking for people to help us. She's been very instrumental in our graphics and our website updates and social media. And so we're looking for maybe a couple people. It'll take 2 or 3 people to fill those shoes. So if that's something that you're good at, we're looking for people to volunteer a couple hours. It would be like, 2 hours a week, or, it isn't a whole lot of time, but we need people to help with that. So I'll put some links in, how to volunteer, how to donate, and then well, really year round, but every May we've supported Mass Liberation's Black Mamas Bailout, and they started off usually Mother's Day, but it's really the month of May that they get money to bail out moms here in Nevada. Sometimes it's a parking ticket or something that they can't pay and they end up in jail. So they've been doing this for quite a long time and we supported it. So I'll put some information how you can help support them in that. And year round, you can always help them out. So, and if you ever have any questions, just let us know. We'd love to have you join us.
All righty. Thank you for mentioning the petitions, because yeah, that was pretty exciting. I'm putting my other hat on as the legislative coordinator, PAC coordinator, because that's my other hat. So I purposely chose nonpartisan offices because that's what we probably get the most questions on, specifically judicial. And I must say that our voter's guide is now available, and I believe we've got the link to the PDF that we can put in the chat. And all of you, there it is. All of you that are on here today, you're probably going to want to save the chat at the end of this meeting, because there's going to be a lot of information, because I've asked all the candidates speaking today to put their website information, their contact information, and any canvassing dates and such that are coming up, because all of these candidates can use your help to get out the vote and all that. And I know I have a few candidates that are on here that are running for partisan offices, and they too can put their info in there. But we just finished the voter's guide today, so I'm very excited. So as I said, we're going to start with the judicial, because that is what we get the most questions on. I think we have with us 3 excellent candidates. Another one could not be here, but I'm going to speak for her in a little bit. So I'm going to start with my friend Ray Kennedy.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am thrilled to be here. I want to take just a moment to once again thank Sue, the Nevada Now Board, and the Nevada Now PAC for endorsing and supporting my grassroots campaign. I am Ray Kennedy. I'm running for Las Vegas Municipal Court Judge Department 5. I used to work at Municipal Court as an administrator, and so that's the main reason why I decided to run, and it's how I know firsthand that we can and must do better for our community. I have over 25 years of experience as a social worker, educator, mediator, advocate, civil and criminal trial attorney, and court administrator. And I want to take all of those skills to the bench. My goal is to create a community-centered court that is transparent, innovative, fiscally responsible, and efficient. And I intend to create that court in 3 main ways. The first is by creating a community advisory council. I want to recruit community members and leaders from across the valley to meet with them on a quarterly basis. I want to be very transparent with the court's data and information. And I want that council to help me to support the individuals who come through the criminal legal system. The second way is by implementing research-based decisions and best practices. We have decades of research that tells us how to most effectively run and work with those who come through the criminal legal system, and yet we rarely use it. And I'll give you just one quick example of what I mean by research-based decisions and best practices. The Las Vegas Municipal Court does not have a court reminder system, meaning they do not remind people about their court hearing in any way. When I worked there as an administrator, I wanted to implement a court reminder system. We have known for at least 4 decades that when you remind someone about their court hearing, it can reduce their non-appearance by up to 98%. It is the most cost-effective way to reduce non-appearances. And so I reached out to Stanford Law School because they have a legal design lab that conducts research to improve the legal system. And they agreed that they would give us the software, they would implement it into the court's case management system. And what they wanted to research was whether text messages were as effective as what we know sending a letter or postcard, calling or emailing is. That research started in the court system, but it's used across industries now. It's why your medical providers remind you about your appointments, because they know that it's effective. And when I took that idea to the judges, they said no. And when I asked why, because it would not cost the city a dime, and yet it would cut down on non-appearance rates, they said, we're not here to hold people's hands. I was supremely disappointed by that response. And again, it was a major motivator for me to run for office. And the third way that I want to create the vision for this court is by treating everyone with dignity and respect. And every judicial candidate will say that that's their intention, and I'm sure it is. I think I set myself apart from most judicial candidates and judges with my background in social work, education, criminal defense, and mediation. I understand that when someone is standing before a judge, the behavior that brought them there is simply a snapshot of their life. It is not the sum of who they are as a human being. And too often judges conflate the two, and they start to speak to the human as if they are nothing more than the worst behavior they've ever exhibited. And so you have people walking away from court feeling as though they were not heard, they were not listened to, they were not respected, they were not understood. And that colors how they see all of our systems, our political system, our education system. I really want to try as much as I can to reinstill trust and confidence in the judiciary. And so those are the things that I am committed to accomplishing once I'm elected. And I would love to have everyone's vote in the primary. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ray. One thing I meant to mention, like I said, we've got this broken down into 3 sections. We will take questions at the end of each section. So if you have a question about any of the judicial candidates, put it in the chat during this time, and we'll take care of them at the end. Same thing with everything. And thank you, Ray, for putting your info in there. One of the things that I think Jerry and I have heard a lot over the last few years is that Nevada now only endorses female candidates. That could not be further from the truth. We look at all candidates, no matter the gender, and proof of that is in the next speaker, which is Judge Joseph Cisanto. Unmute yourself. You were practicing, I know. You can do it. Technology is sometimes no fun.
Yeah, he put in the chat that his speaker might be
Oh, wait,
out.
there he is. Are you there, Joe? Say something, Joseph. You're unmuted. Go ahead, say something. He might not be hearing us. Are you not hearing us?
Yeah, I think he can't hear because he said that his speaker is out, so maybe he can't hear.
Hi, yeah, hey.
There he is. There he is.
I can't hear you guys.
Okay, well, go ahead, Joe.
We hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, I know you can hear. It says I'm unmuted, but for some reason my speaker just went out.
All right, we can hear you just fine, so go ahead and do your thing.
Okay, so I guess right now is when they want me to speak?
Yes.
Thank you. Just give me the cut me off sign. Of course. Well, hi. Well, I'm assuming you've asked me to speak right now. I don't know what just happened. My audio went out. But for the record, my name is Judge Joseph Sacento. I am the incumbent judge in Department 2. I've been in there for 15 years. I've lived in Las Vegas for over 33 years, practiced law for over 33 years. I've handled every kind of case there is, from traffic tickets to murder charges. I've defended death penalty cases when I was in the Special Public Defender's Office and when I was a private attorney as a defense attorney. I was appointed to the bench in 2009. There were 29 people that had applied for 2 positions that were opening. And after a couple months of review, 6 people went on to the county commissioners, and the county commissioners selected 2 judges. It was Judge Melanie Tobiasen and myself. And I was selected in 2009. I served until 2010 when I was reelected. 2012, I was reelected. In 2018, I was reelected, and this is my 3rd term, which really, to tell you the truth, is going to be my last term. What things that we've done changes in Las Vegas Justice Court are amazing. We're starting to do some different things in there. One is we've got a new resort corridor court, and it's in its infancy, and there's got to be some changes made on that. And I was just reminded that today by a public defender. This court is not, and it's not supposed to be designed to just arrest people who are homeless and put them in custody and keep them off of the resort corridor and have them move to other parts of Las Vegas. Now, that's the assurance that we've got. And as a judge, it is my responsibility to make sure that we're not using this just to lock people up, throw them away, and get them off the Las Vegas Strip. So I have worked in conjunction with Judge De La Garza, Judge Woods, and a few other judges in order to get these people into community court. So people who are homeless or have problems, or even dealing with drug problems or mental health problems, we're contacting with the other judges and working with them to try to get services for them. And that's very important because, right now we have about registered 9,700 homeless people. If we don't do anything, if we just arrest, put in custody, release, and have them go to other parts of the community, nothing's going to change. We're not going to fix it. If you look around now, we can see that the homelessness problem has increased. So we're working together with a bunch of different agencies, including the casino agencies, the district attorney's office, the public defender's office, and the different judges and different agencies to try to get them into some kind of services. And it's very important that we have a judge there that understands that we work together. And I say this because I'm not the only one doing this. As I mentioned, I'm working with the other judges to achieve this goal. And it's very important that we do that. So that's one of the exciting things that we're doing. The other thing is we're really trying to get Justice Court cleaned up. We've had some problems. Traffic tickets have now changed. Instead of being criminal, some are civil, some are criminal. There's a combination of both. You get a ticket, you have one criminal, one civil. They go in 2 separate ways, and never the 2 shall meet. I'm on the traffic committee, which we're trying to implement a way for people to deal with these cases. We're trying to get the district attorneys to be involved so we can do pre-trials and we can move the cases along. Because most people want to just deal with the case, get it reduced maybe to an illegal parking or a reduction to a lower point so it doesn't affect their insurance. But since the change in the legislature under AB 116, it's made it a lot more difficult for people to deal with this. So one, we're working to try to make it so they can get better access through the internet instead of having to come down to court. We're trying to work together with everybody there so they can do that. So it's a big, big challenge, but that's basically what we're doing. Like I said, I've been on the bench for almost 15 years. Come July will be 15 years. A lot of changes that I've seen going on. I was when I first started 33 years ago, we had what we call the 8-day kick out. We'd have somebody arrested, placed in custody, and held for 8 days with no charges. That's now changed. We now have to have a hearing within 24 hours, and we have our courts working 7 days a week. So it's very important that we do that. We maintain access for everybody to the courts. So that's about all I got to say. And it's kind of weird because I can't really hear anything else going on. So I don't know if I'm getting the cutoff sign. but obviously would love to answer any questions. If I can figure out how to restart my speaker, I'll do that. But I did hear in the very beginning, and all of a sudden it said, "Oh, I forgot. This is Joe Sacento. Let's mess with his computer."
You're
Because
good.
once the gray hair kicks in, the computer realizes, "Oh, let's see if he's got any gray matter left." Thank you very much.
All right. From here, I will have you make sure you by judicial candidates. There is a question in the chat. We'll get to that in a second. We're now going to go to candidate Patricia Doyle.
Hello, everyone. My name is Patricia Doyle. I am running for Henderson Justice Court Department 3. Couple things about me. I've lived in Clark County / Henderson for the past 30 plus years. I am a mother in my 40s to a 2-year-old. She is exhausting, but absolutely perfect. But this is now her home, which is one of the reasons why I'm running. But the third, and what I think is most important about me, is that I am a public defender. And I don't say that as this is my job, this is my career, this is something that actually defines me. I love being a public defender. I have been a public defender for about 14 years. I have been a pain in Judge Sacento's courtroom multiple times. Just so we're clear, I love him, I adore him. He's a fantastic judge. But being a public defender is part of my identity. And so it was a really hard decision on whether or not to run or not. Certain people try to talk me into running, and I struggled with it. I do think our bench needs some changes to it. There are some great judges, but there are some not so great judges. But there are really 2 reasons why I decided to run. First and foremost, at some point, you have to get off the sidelines. So, being a public defender, I get to fight all day long in court. But there's only so much change you can make happen. And there's only so many times you can go back to your office and be disappointed about what happened in court before it's time for you to get off the sideline, step up to the plate, so to speak, in sports talk, since, I have some Aces fans here. And the second reason, and what actually convinced me to run, is that I love being a public defender. That's my livelihood. That's my part of my identity. And someone once told me on the day I decided to put in that sometimes the people we want to wear the robes are the people that aren't sure they want that power, aren't sure that they want that responsibility. And so that actually convinced me a little bit to put my name in and to try to change the system. I'm coming after Ray and Judge Sento, and they both gave great speeches to follow up on some changes I'd like to see in Henderson Justice Court. Right now, Henderson Justice Court, every judge only has 1 day of criminal. That causes 2 issues on both sides of the aisle. For the prosecution, for the victims, that causes a backlog to where you have a DA who has 15 cases on prelim calendar. The calendar lasts till 2 p.m., so they're making offers that they probably shouldn't be making. On the defense side, you have the other problem where defense attorneys get assigned a case, they find a conflict, they want to file a motion to get released off the case, or they think this client deserves an OR, they try to file a motion and they can't be heard for another week and a half. Because right now, unfortunately, the way it's set up and the way it has been is that no judge will hear another judge's case. That needs to end. I cannot comprehend why we have sitting judges who only have 1 day a week have calendars. The other problem is Justice Court in Henderson doesn't have any of the court systems or the community help that Judge Sento just talked about. There is no mental health court. Judge Wood started in Las Vegas Justice Court. In North Las Vegas, Judge Hu is the one who started the community court. I've spoken with both of them. Henderson has nothing, absolutely no courts whatsoever. We transfer our cases in Henderson to Las Vegas Justice Court. The problem with that is that Las Vegas Justice Court is being burdened with that. Right now, Las Vegas Mental Health Court is not accepting any new applicants because they're full. And part of the reason why they're full is because Henderson doesn't have that. And there's plenty of money and grant money to do so. And we just haven't tapped into doing it. And that's an issue. The other problem with Henderson Justice Court kind of goes to Ray's comment. Henderson's interesting because in Henderson, it's the only courthouse where you cannot pay a ticket online. So what does that mean? Or a fine? What does that mean? That means someone has to take a day off of work to drive down to the courthouse, go through the metal detectors, wait in line just to pay their fine. And if they don't, a warrant's issued for their arrest. That needs to change. I have no idea why it's in 2024 and everything else is electronic. I Venmo everybody. That's what I do. And Henderson Justice Court does not have the ability to accept an electronic payment. And not for my candidacy, but for Ray, just so you're aware, the Public Defender's Office did do a study on text messages and through the bail reform. And so contact me. We have the numbers. It does increase. That's it. Sorry. Thank you so much.
No, that's excellent. And another candidate for Henderson Justice Court is Marla Renteria, and she had another engagement this evening, but she sent me a statement she wanted to make. She is running for this office because she believes qualified diversity on the bench produces better justice and promotes public confidence in the judicial system. Diversity is something that the Henderson Justice Court bench is lacking for quite some time. She is the only person of color running in this race, and if elected, would be the first Latina elected to the bench. When she speaks of qualified diversity, she's not just referring to being a first-generation Mexican-American or woman, but a diversity, a diversity of life of experience. She comes from humble beginnings, born and raised in a double-wide trailer in Reno, Nevada, by two supportive casino working parents. She put herself through law school at UNLV Boyd School of Law while raising her young son. She understands the struggle of trying to balance competing obligations and trying to make ends meet. She has dedicated over 10 years of her career as a public defender, defending the rights and dignity of some of the most vulnerable members of our community, often before judges that are out of touch with the realities of the average hardworking and diverse array of individuals that appear before them every day. Her personal and professional experience will give her the breadth of understanding necessary to administer justice equitably and with compassion. She can tell you that a litigant who feels seen, heard, and understood is more inclined to accept a ruling and have confidence in a decision even when it is contrary to their position. She is committed to being the fair and impartial judge Henderson needs to keep our community safe while respecting the rights and dignity of our neighbors. So that's a statement from Marla Renteria. I know that she was told by someone that she didn't look like Henderson. So I'm just going to put that out there. Yeah. Okay, so the question in the chat is, okay, where'd it go? Does anybody have eyes on it? It just left me.
I think Dr. Bush he put it on the chat just now, kind of the idea around it.
Oh.
That was actually a different question. I can read the question.
Do you want to?
I got it. What is your philosophy on judicial activism and what effect should judges have in setting or promoting public policy? That goes to all our judicial candidates. If you want to take it, unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm willing to jump in. So when I think about judicial activism, I think about what that means to me is judges trying to create law from the bench, and that's not a judge's role. Judges are required to follow the law as it is. When it comes to public policy, though, I mean, that's one of the things that I think most of the public doesn't understand, that judges set all of the policy in their particular court. And so when you're thinking about who you want to be a judge, you want them to have experience having handled the kinds of cases they're going to preside over, but you also want them to have policy development experience. Because, and I'll give you a quick example of what I mean by the difference. So the law may say that you are required to pay a fine for a particular offense. What the law doesn't do is tell you how much that needs to be, when it needs to be paid, whether you can pay it in installments, what will happen if you're late on your payment. All of those questions are answered by the judges setting the policy for the court. So in Las Vegas Municipal Court, you would receive a fine. The judges decided, yes, we will allow them to pay on a payment plan. But they also decided that if they missed a payment, if they were 1 minute late, a warrant would go out for their arrest. That is not law. That's policy that was set by the judges. I absolutely think judges need to set policy, and you want the right kind of people setting those policies, because if you have bad judges or judges who are out of touch with our community, that's the kind of policies that they set. Well, where else do you get a warrant put out for you when you're late paying something? It is ridiculous and it is unnecessary.
Patricia or Judge Joseph, do you have anything to add to that?
I'll jump in. I'm going to disagree a little bit. I'm actually okay with judicial activism. I'm a living constitutionalist. I believe that the law is not always so black and white. I agree to follow the law, but I also agree to abide by my moral compass. And so if the law is unfair, I will be finding the gray areas in the law and appeal me, take me to, the legislation. That's not a problem. And that's not something I'm scared of. So I do walk that line. I do agree with following the law, but I do think that as a judge, there has to be some activism. Again, I believe in a living constitution. So I believe that the Constitution changes based on, we can't just do right to privacy. Right to privacy has to be extended. Sorry, I hear a very low.
That's Judge Joseph. That's all right.
To include things such as endorsement. Just because it's not written in doesn't mean that it doesn't apply. So I do believe in judicial activism if that's what the question is asking for.
Judge Joe, just try talking into your phone. See if that works.
Let me try this.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible.
You're fine.
All right. Let me turn that off. Okay, there we go. I'll just, well, I guess I will.
Just go ahead and cut yourself off from the phone.
Okay, you can hear me now. I've turned off my phone, so I don't know if I can hear you. But, I agree that there shouldn't be judicial activism in the sense of what you feel you should have to do in the law. If you don't agree with the law, or you agree that there should be a change in there, that you go forward and make those changes. Because the most important thing is to understand that if you agree with me in my position and I say, let's go and make a change here, that's okay for you. But if you don't agree with me and I'm still, as a judge, allowed to make the changes, then it's going to hurt you. So we got to understand that the legislature is the one that creates the law, and we're the ones that have to follow the law. That being said, though, is we have to take in consideration how effect it has on each individual that appears in front of us. As I was saying earlier, you get a case that comes in front of you, you see somebody who is being hurt or harmed by the state because of his or her economic or position, their heritage, those kind of things. And so you need to step in and say, wait a minute, this is not right. The way it's applying is not right. So there has to be sometimes that a judge steps in and says, this is not right in this situation, and is able to make a change or help foster a change. We're restricted on any kind of negotiations. We really can't push it, but reality is we do have the ability to get both sides to the table and bring them forward and say, look, we got a problem with this case. This is what I take on this. This is the problem. And you help push it to a solution that's acceptable to all, but also to protect the person, most of the time, the defendant who's in there. So that's really important that you do that and understand that there's things that you can do, but we're restricted on what we can do. So I don't think that we can completely disregard the law, because if we do, then that can also be used against us. I mean, I remember this famous saying from my law professor. He says, if the devil was in the middle of the forest and he was out there, would you cut all the trees down to go get him? They said, yes, of course I would. He says, well, then if you cut all the trees down, what is to stop him from coming to you? So that's why we got to remember that there's got to be restrictions, because while you may enjoy what I do, you may not enjoy what the next person does or agree what they do. So there's got to be some changes and some balance. But I do think a judge has some authority and some ability to make sure justice is served, and they got to step in to do that. Thank you.
Right. Excellent. Thank you, Judge Joseph. The last question was, how do you define injustice?
I'll start this one off. Very simple. When injustice isn't blind. You know, there's a whole saying that justice is supposed to be blind. And what that means is that it does not matter your socioeconomic standing. It doesn't matter if you're a majority or the minority. And that goes on both sides of the aisle. Injustice is when someone's race, gender, socioeconomic, political connections actually play a part in what happens in their case. And sadly, that happens quite often. So that's how I define injustice.
We all agree on that? Ray?
Yeah, I will certainly echo what Patricia said, but I will add just one additional thing, which is I think what we don't do enough of in the court system is find out from individuals what justice means to them. Too often, I think we make assumptions about what justice means to a victim or what it might mean to an individual who's appearing before the court. And I think it's important that we take the time to figure out what it means to them. And if we can, then we can fashion an approach to the behavior that allows everyone to feel as though they have been able to take a piece of justice with them as they leave the court.
Judge Joseph, anything on that? I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. I'm gonna take this opportunity to thank our judicial candidates, and thank you for answering the questions so thoroughly. And we're going to move on to the city offices, and we're going to start with Melissa Clary.
Hi, thanks for having me. Now it's like coming back home. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Melissa Clary. I'm running for Las Vegas City Council Ward 3, and it's our downtown to the east side, Las Vegas with a chunk west. After redistricting, we're a bit west of the I-15 all the way to Decatur, south of Sahara. So it's a very broad ward, very diverse community, and we need some help. So I'm in this race. I live in the middle of the ward in Huntridge neighborhood, where we just added our first individually listed historic home to the local register. So that's part of the claim to fame for Ward 3. We're part of the oldest sections of the city, so it's nice to start preserving some of our roots and some of those really cool homes in our district. And I'm a bit of a historic preservation nut or enthusiast. As you can see behind me, a fun fact, one of my passion projects when I'm not running for office is restoring this old movie theater behind me, the neon sign on the Gem Theater here in Lincoln County. That was a sign we refurbished in the first piece of our restoration. So that's why it's behind me. One of our Nevada tourism destinations, hopefully in the future. Currently, I'm the Portfolio Coordination Manager for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. That's why I was very quick to jump in on the IT piece. I work for the Office of Information Technology nationally, so I handle at our more than 1,300 healthcare facilities nationally, all of the IT infrastructure that goes into our hospitals and clinics. It's not my passion, however, it's a fabulous mission serving our veterans. My passion is truly local office and all the things we get to do at a city level. That's always been my interest, and where I've been engaged and most involved is at the city level. I used to work for the city of Las Vegas for 5 years. Where I handled parks and recreation center improvements, all the capital budget projects for the city. I was a big part of working on bringing in new grant funds for a lot of the projects you actually get to enjoy in Ward 3 today. I was part of the team that brought in a lot of those funds. So it's cool to now be running for this seat and looking at what I can bring to it as the elected official. In a previous life, I've been a paralegal, a sign twirler, a popcorn scooper, a lawnmower, a cheerleading coach, lots of things. So I have lived experience across the board, not just in public service. But I did get my start in public service 19 years ago, or I'm sorry, at the age of 19. That was more than 19 years ago, working for the County of San Diego Department of Planning and Land Use as a college student while attending San Diego State in my undergrad. I worked as a zoning technician, and I'll never forget, this really kind of led the way for me in public service. We experienced terrible wildfires in 2003 in the county of San Diego. This was the Cedar Fire, where it actually came into the urban core of the city. Well, it was county, but I recall people coming to the zoning counter with a single briefcase and breaking down in front of me, trying to get what they needed to rebuild, and exclaiming that they hoped the briefcase held the paperwork they needed in order to rebuild their home. And I remember the trauma and the desperation of folks surrounding that wildfire event. And that really instilled in me a passion and dedication for public service. And I actually left law after that because I had been pursuing actually to become a lawyer right after that. But I actually missed that dedication that I found through public service and returned to it because I didn't have the same calling in law. So I'm truly running to bring that same passion and dedication that I feel is missing at City Hall for my ward. I feel that I'm bringing this energy to the seat, and I want to be a stronger voice for our ward and to really reduce the challenges or to address the challenges that we're experiencing in the ward that I don't feel have been addressed. So my main concerns are reducing homelessness and increasing access to care. So I'm very inspired by some of what I hear in the judicial seats, what they're hoping to do in that arena. Obviously, we would be an agency that would work hand in hand there. Economic development, I'd like to recruit more diverse business interests in our area and diversity in some of the amenities. So we're lacking basic daily services, things like grocery stores, and we're a bit of a food desert in parts of the ward. And those are things that I feel a city council person can assist with in economic development to entice more of those vendors and businesses to come to our area. And truly to bring greater accountability and transparency to City Hall. I think you see oftentimes people feel they're not listened to at the city. They don't understand why people make certain votes, why they drag us into certain lawsuits. So that's definitely an area where I hope to be more transparent, have more town halls, and obtain citizen input into just the daily goings on and what the agenda is at the city. So again, I'm Melissa Clary. I'll put my information in the chat. We do have a large canvassing opportunity if you like that sort of thing. We'll be at 9 a.m. this Saturday. We're meeting at the Laborers Union Training Center on Sahara, and I can put that in the chat as well. Otherwise, if you're interested, please reach out to me. We can do text or phone calling if you don't like walking. But thank you for your time.
Thanks, Melissa. There's a question in the chat, and I don't know if you, I think it's to you about Ward 3. I don't know if you want to answer that or reach out to Judge Joseph on your own. Chandra Summers Armstrong was supposed to be here tonight, but I know she's out knocking doors. So I'm going to go to our northern friends and start with Lily Barron.
I don't mean to interrupt, but that question didn't come from me. This is Judge Sacento. I just see it says Judge Sacento to everybody.
Yeah,
No,
this is Cecilia.
it's from me, but we have the same since I registered together for the call, so I didn't realize it says
Gotcha.
Cecia, but in my picture it says Cecia. I don't know why it says Justice Santo.
Okay.
Just asking us that is very invested in Ward 3.
Okay, yeah, I can type a message to you. Thank you.
Yeah, Melissa, can you reach out to Cecia? That'd be great. Lily, go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lily Barron. I'm running for Reno City Council Ward 1. It's good to see a lot of you. I don't know all of you, but good to see those of you who I know, and nice to meet you, those of you who I don't. I'm running as the only Housing First candidate. I have extensive experience in housing and am shouting loud and proud for neighborhood stability, rent control, homelessness advocacy, and evidence-based policy solutions that are affecting people that are most vulnerable. I have worked in the legislature for the ACLU of Nevada. I've knocked doors for Planned Parenthood, and I do work with the Indigenous community with River Justice, as well as have been a part of advancing bills to take care of folks that are incarcerated, such as the Dignity for Incarcerated Women bill, which I was happy to do with Nevada Now, as well as adopting the Mandela rules for solitary confinement, ending financial penalties for people experiencing homelessness, and of course, the right to protect abortion in Nevada. These accomplishments are because of my commitment to justice, and it is unwavering. I show up for my community on a local level by hosting a refrigerated food pantry, a resource pantry and harm reduction material center in my front yard, and a community garden in the back called Hampton House Garden. Please check it out if you'd like. It's Hampton House Garden on Instagram and everything else. I show up by participating, knocking doors for all sorts of other candidates and other environmental ventures that I see scope beyond greenwashing and actual solutions that have to deal with climate change using what we have now as opposed to expanding into mining, et cetera. I'd like to see more people that are represented in the downtown area and Ward 1. We have a lot of folks that feel disenfranchised and like they don't get heard, and I'm hearing housing, housing, housing for every single precinct that I've knocked. We are knocking steadily, almost 1,000 doors a week. I have a really strong people-powered campaign. I am not endorsed by a lot of major groups. However, the endorsements that I have, I feel like I've really earned. And as far as contributions, I'm really proud to say that I've received no contributions from any developers or any other large businesses, but over 225 individual contributions have kept this campaign going. I want to thank everyone on the call that's helped me so far, and I hope that I'm able to shift the way that grassroots candidates win in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily. I can't click my mute button for the life of me. Our new friend, Tara Webster. I know you're there. Did we lose Tara?
She's there. I just don't see her video.
Tara? Well, she's also running for Reno City Council. So while I have Melissa and oh, there's Tara.
I'm here,
There you are, Tara. There you are. Go for it.
I couldn't get the screen to turn on. It was like really challenging for me. But anyways, hello everyone. Sorry, I just left one event. I was on a guest panel. So I'm in my car. But it's nice to see you all. My name is Tara Webster. I'm running for Reno City Council in Ward 5 in Northern Nevada. And yeah, so background on me, I am a scientist, biologist by trade, traveled all over the world doing research. And I'm an educator, everything from pre-K to college, and
I'm a community advocate. I've done a lot of work with local nonprofits, local mutual aid groups, and I really consider myself a community connector, and someone who, just like Lily said, we show up for our communities. But yeah, I'm very happy to be running in this race and have a lot of community support behind me. Some of the issues that are very important to me are not just affordable housing, but making sure that we have low income and transitional housing, making sure that we are prioritizing, a lot of the resources and services that we provide for our unsheltered neighbors, making sure that we are getting houses to the people that need them at affordable prices that they can, live with. And another big issue for me is early childhood education. Like I said, I'm an educator and have worked across the gamut with different age levels, and I also am a mother to a 16-month-old, and finding daycare for him was not easy by any means. Usually the waiting lists for pre-K are anywhere from a year to a year and a half. The tuition is $1,300 to $1,500 a month, and they're very hard to open in Northern Nevada due to some of the zoning restrictions. And they're all issues that are easy to resolve at the municipal level. Our city and our county are aware of these issues, and no one is addressing them. And I really want to focus on that because pre-K is one of the biggest precursors to children's success later in K-12 and whether they're going to go to college or not. And that is especially important when we're talking about marginalized communities. So big issue that we can solve, on the small micro scale. But to keep everything short and simple, I do need help on the ground here in Reno. I will have canvassing scheduled for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can check my social media or my website. Probably go to my social media to find more accurate stuff. But vote Tara Webster on Instagram, on Facebook, and my website is votetaraWebster.com. And if you have time during the week, I will work around your schedule to get you on the ground. But that's me, and yeah, great to meet you all.
Thank you, Tara. Yeah, just make sure if you can, if maybe Lily could even put your information in the chat since it looks like you're in the car. There's one question that came up for our city people. With all of the new house building going on, has there been any discussion on the councils about where we are going to get the water that will be needed? Lily, I know you're the big
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in.
what do I want to say? I don't even know what I want to say.
Yeah, that's a really accurate and valid concern, and I think it mainly concerns Southern Nevadans. As far as Northern Nevadans go, I think one thing that we're not talking about that our area is experiencing that's different is that we do have housing stock, and a lot of it lies in Airbnbs, and a lot of it lies in vacation rentals, and a lot of it lies in empty motels and empty hotels. So Northern Nevada has some different issues. As far as new building, we should always be concerned about water. Our watershed is mainly affected by, waste from these projects and waste from folks at the river, or from us not opening up available housing stock to people that are living on the river and them having to, having no other choice but to bathe and otherwise live on the riverside. But I would say if I were in Southern Nevada, I would be very concerned about water conservation as well. Up here, we have some solutions that we are just not tapping into.
Melissa, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I think, in Ward 3, we have a lot of opportunities for sustainable vertical infill. So looking at our downtown to the real urban core area, we do have opportunities similar to what Lily's saying for adaptive reuse. Looking at going up instead of sprawling out. Ward 3 is landlocked, obviously. Most of the city is, other than the Northwest. So there are opportunities for us to do infill. And we actually have a lot of manufactured housing parks in Ward 3. So there's opportunity there to use existing hookups where we're not adding new. And then, of course, with historic preservation, the greenest building is the one that's already there that you can retrofit and refurbish. So there's always that concept. But with modern construction, we really do see more sustainable footprints and building methods. So for new construction, looking at anything we add in the ward, we're obviously able to capture most of that water with all the, 99 point something percent of indoor water is recycled. So it's actually pretty sustainable in its operational footprint. But we can always do better. So I know with the code, the building code at the city, we're always looking at ways to improve with conservation. And because it is a desert and we have this finite resource and we're in a drought, that is certainly something that will be of paramount concern, that we look at how can we update our code and consider water conservation measures. Thank you for asking that.
Thank you, Melissa. All right, I want to thank our city council candidates for being here. I know, again, important to knock doors. Make sure you put your campaign information in there, and again, any canvassing dates. I know some of you have some, like Lily and Tara, and I think Melissa, I think you had some too. I'm going to move on to education, which has been a big focus for us this year. Specifically with Clark County School District, but we've got candidates all over the place here. And I'm going to start with the Nevada Board of Education candidate, Tricia Braxton.
Thanks, Sue. And thank you, Sue, Jerry, and the rest of the board for your endorsement. It is not lost on me. I am deeply honored. It just means a lot. So exactly, everyone, I am Tricia Braxton. I am running for State Board of Education, District 1. The district includes the same areas as the congressional district, right? So if you're in Dina Titus's district, that's the district that I'm running in. The State Board of Education has 11 members. 4 of those members are elected and represent the congressional district. The other 7 are appointed. 6 members on the board have voting power. I am running because I'm inspired by those who have ran and the concerns that have been expressed by students. On my website, I have a survey, of course. I'm an educator, and I take in information from people, and I'm able to look at that data and look at some of the concerns of those 23 and younger. And what I've found is that the major concerns, it's food insecurity and safety. So let me tell you a little bit about my background. I am a former New York City police officer, retiring after 8 years before moving out west. I was able to look at different options and chose to go into education, right? And so I was a 1st and 3rd grade teacher for a while at a private school. As I navigated that space of finding the appropriate schools for my children, we experienced private school, we experienced charter schools. I looked into parochial schools, and I noticed that there was a great disparity between the different types of schools and within the different types of schools. And that's concerning. In my current work, I actually create pre-K through 12 community-based education programs to support our teachers and our students. And so, having this lived experience, if you will, inspired me to join Emerge. I'm a proud graduate of Emerge cohort 2022. So Emerge, best cohort. And it's interesting to put my total experience and the influence from my parents into this campaign. My parents were also police officers, and my mother, she championed a lot of the progress that was made in the New York City Police Department as the president of the Policewomen's Endowment Association. So looking at issues of disparity, looking at issues of education and understanding the systems factor is what informs me in my race. I am definitely running because, Clark County is my home. I've lived here for 21 years. In a time where it's easy to talk about the fails of what education is, it's important to amplify opportunities for solutions, right? When we look at the criteria, right? So it's that criteria that's important. Creating those conditions for success is important. When we look at the amount of spending on our students, when we look at what student success actually means. I think Tara mentioned the issue of not having that mandatory pre-K kindergarten, right, aspect. So we get a ding for that. Looking at the fact that people are chasing rents. They are chasing rents, and because of that, they're moving their children around, right? So that's an issue. These are factors that we have to understand. Now, I can only move forward within the scope of the position that I'm running for. I have a lot to say about a lot of things, if anyone who knows me, but it's important to be mindful of the position that I am running for. And so when I look at some of these tangible changes, right, some of this includes informing people the organizational structure of education. There are so many people who don't know what the State Board of Education is or does. And I would love to see an explanation of that with comparison to the Board of Regents and to the trustee board, for example, on the website. That's an easy fix. Another thing would be, for our students, creating not just listening sessions, but listening and act sessions. Our students do have a lot to say. They have wonderful, wonderful ideas for solutions. And sometimes they just need to be paired with the right individuals and the right agencies. So facilitating that within my scope is possible. When we look at our retention of our educators, that is everything. We have what we know through the pandemic was that there were a lot of teachers who put in a lot of effort to create these online learning opportunities, okay? And they did a great job with it. Some went by the wayside, but my sister is a special education facilitator. She's been with the Clark County School District for 25 years. I told you I came from a family of law enforcement. My father, when he retired from NYPD, came out here with 2 degrees, both in education, and worked his way up from being a special education teacher to an administrator within the school district. And, in talking about education with my family, with friends, what we know is that our students, they have a life before they sit in that seat, right? So education is not just about that textbook or the curriculum. It's about giving students and creating these environments where our students learn these soft skills, right? And understanding these concerns about whether or not they can, for our older students, afford to live in the area they grew up, right? So that leads to the career readiness aspect. And when we talk about education to what end? Are we preparing our students for tomorrow? So again, I'm speaking within the scope of these responsibilities for the State Board of Education. There is a lot to consider, but a lot to protect in education as well. There is a wave of attacking diversity, equity, and inclusion, for example, and that needs to be addressed. So part of my slogan includes protect education, and that means, this inclusive piece of education where we have to be mindful of our diverse students and our teachers and what that means moving forward in this ever evolving society, right? So, there's a lot that I can say. I'm going to cut it short a little bit. If anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer questions. Please contact me at trisha4nv@gmail. I'll put my website also in the chat, which is trishabraxton4nv.com. And please, if you will, fill out the survey on my website. Thank you.
Tricia, there's a question from Dr. Bush. With all the bureaucracy, what can you accomplish in your first 30 days and or 90 days?
Well, definitely getting that information on the website. That's one. definitely starting those listening sessions, that's two, right? So looking at what the listening sessions would be amongst our high schoolers and our students who are in college. Also having discussions with our unions to amplify opportunities for apprenticeship.
Perfect. All right, we're going to move on to, you mentioned Nevada System of Higher Education Regent, and we have a candidate here for one of those positions, and that's Aaron Bautista.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate you taking your time to listen to me. So, my name is Aaron Bautista, and I'm running for Regent District 4. I've lived in District 4 my entire life. I went to school here, lived in the same house here, and now I teach here. So, a lot of the students that I teach, they're not just students to me. They're neighbors to me. You know, I see their parents at grocery stores and the car next to me. And so not only am I fighting for the students, I'm fighting for their parents by running for Regent, because this is the community I grew up in. These are people I see. And in Ward 3, or not Ward 3, I'm sorry, I was thinking about Melissa still. In District 4, a lot of the students don't even have college on their radar. And that's something that I want to change, because whether it be affordability, accessibility, there's issues that need to be fixed. A lot of my students, parents especially, because I teach elementary education, college is too expensive for them, or they don't know how to sign up, or there's language barriers. I want to make sure that those issues are fixed so that way they have access to go to college if they choose. Because, you know, they're here for a better life. A lot of immigrant families are here for a better life. My parents came here. And I want to make sure that all these available routes are as accessible to them as possible, because I want them to have that. As a son of immigrants, you know, I like to say that we are our parents' wildest dreams. And teaching special ed, I teach the really young ones from grades K through 3rd. And like, I see the promise that they have. And that really inspires me to keep going and keep fighting for them, because I want to see them grow into what they can accomplish. There's so much potential I see in them. And I want to make sure that when they're at that college age, they have that access. When I graduated high school here from El Dorado High School, I didn't have college on my mind at all because, again, affordability. There was a program at the time, you got one free class at CSN. And I ended up signing up. Well, a friend tricked me to sign up. He told me we were going to go to the mall. He ended up bringing me to college and was like, hey, you're signing up for school. It's free. You have no excuse. Sign up for one class. So I did. And then I saw that, yeah, college wasn't for me. I'm not going to do this. I dropped out after the first semester. But after that first semester, or the second semester by then, it was like, you know what? I started this. I could do this, actually. I'm going to go back and finish this now. And now I have a master's degree, and I'm teaching these kids that I once was. So having that opportunity right there gave me that chance, and I want my students to have that chance as well. Also, as a regent, as a teacher especially, I want to fix the teacher pipeline. I think that's something that, if we work with the Board of Education and everybody else, we could figure out a solution on how to fix this. I know we have the ARL program, we have that internship type program, but as a teacher, I know most of my teachers that I work with, none of us really go to colleges here in Nevada. We either go to Western Governors University, Grand Canyon University, or some New Hampshire or somewhere, but a lot of them aren't in Nevada. And for a state that has a teacher shortage, we should have a more affordable program for teachers to go to. And that way we're also supporting our own state and being able to pay cheaper tuition because we're in state, instead of paying these online programs and making these other colleges more money. Another thing that I think we could do is a lot of states have teacher forgiveness programs. Nevada doesn't. You know, aside from this, the teacher forgiveness federal program, we need one specifically for Nevada, like a lot of the other states have. But again, we're in a shortage. We need to make teaching more attractive to teachers. So why isn't that something that we could kind of all work together on and try figuring out how to do? Yeah, and that also works for teachers who are already in school and trying to learn more to finish their degrees. We need to help them out instead of them starting it and dropping out or whatnot, not finishing their degrees, because we're in that shortage, and that's something that needs to be fixed, I think. And of course, we also need to make a safer, more inclusive learning environment. we know that there's gun violence at UNLV. This past weekend, there was another shooting in one of the garages. And a lot of students do need that mental help. I speak to a lot of students because I go to a lot of the college functions, so I know a lot of the college people. And they tell me about the mental issues they face. They don't feel safe. And when they signed up for mental help at UNLV, because a lot of them live on campus, they were told there was a waiting list and they didn't have a spot open until May. That incident happened back in December. Waiting that many months might be that many months too late for someone who needs that help. And so that's something that I do want to address with the regents and everybody else on the board, everyone else we could get involved, because there's issues that need to be solved in higher education. And of course, I also want to work on budgets, make sure they're more transparent so we know where college budgets are going. We want to make sure that higher education is growing. We want to make sure that we're getting these world-class facilities, like that medical facility that was getting built, that is built. We need to grow on to that. We want to make Nevada colleges the premier destination for colleges. You know, we want to make them on that higher level so we can get more people here. And that's kind of why I'm running for the Regent. So not only to fight for my students, their families, but for my community and to give everybody that chance at a higher education if they want. Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron. I'm going to kind of jump around here because I know we're running late, but we're going to jump to CCSD real quick. And Tamika, I know you've got a parent Zoom in a little bit, so if you want to jump on, do your thing. If you're still here, there you are.
I'm still here. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Hello, and I thank you so much for the endorsement. I have admired you all forever, and to get your support truly means a lot to me. And I thank you all for your patience too. So, hi everyone. I'm Tamika Henry. I'm a candidate for school board trustee in District C. District C, North Las Vegas, the historic West Side. Also, so some of the schools is like Western, Mojave, Cheyenne, to give you some context. I'm running for office because I have a child in this district. I have children who have attended school in this district, and I know that great things can happen when you have access to high quality education. And so that's something that I'm really running for, to make sure that we are retaining our great educators and support staff. I want to make sure that we have equitable access to resources. That's something that's important to me. I want to make sure that we are holding whoever our new superintendent is, making sure that we're holding them accountable, but also making sure that we are supporting them as well. I feel that it's important that we have an increase in family and community engagement throughout our district. You know, we often hear that we're 48th and 49th in the nation for education. And we didn't get there overnight, and it's going to take us a little while to get out of there, but together, it's going to take all of us together doing our part, collaborating with local businesses and mentorship organizations, making sure that our students and their families have access to the resources that they need. I look at data quite often, and the thing that shocked me the most, that one of the schools that is in my district that's maybe less than 3 miles away from my house, the third graders, the third grade data for students that are on track and literacy, 9%. 9% of students are on track and reading in third grade. The third grade data is important because if they're not literate by third grade, they're 4 times more likely not to graduate. And so when we're talking about student success and outcomes, and we want to improve graduation rates, we got to start really early. And that starts in preschool, you know. So I'm running because I have a passion and a heart for this community. I'm running for my children and your grandchildren, your children. So I am Tamika Henry. I'm dedicated to this community. I am experienced. I have served on the Head Start board here locally for a few years now, about almost 15 years now. Woo, which is exciting. But I know that our students leave Head Start prepared for kindergarten. I want to ensure that our school district is prepared for our students. So again, Tamika Henry, you can reach my website at votetamikahenry.com. I put it in the chat as well, and I'm looking forward to serving you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamika. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Did anyone have any questions?
I think we're good. If they do, we'll pass them on to you because I know you have to jump on another Zoom.
I appreciate you all so much.
Thank
Have
you,
a
Tamika.
great one. Thank you for your support.
I'm going to jump over to Camilla Bywaters.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, it's been such an honor to be here tonight or this evening. I don't even know what time it is or day. Camila Bywaters, I'm running for the Board of School Trustees in District E. That area is Summerlin, Spring Valley, out to Blue Diamond. I do go down to Sahara and Decatur towards the 95 and all the way back up around. There's some things that I'm interested in definitely working on improving the culture and the climate of the school district. If you have paid attention to what's happening in our school system, it has been a very oppressive relationship that our leaders have had with employees within the district. So that's definitely a priority for me. I do believe if we can't look at another person and believe in their humanity, then believe in their spirit and the soul, then we're not going to help them to create change or to solve their problems. Two, I would definitely like to see a review, evaluation, and possible update of all board policies. Our board has been in like this situation where they've given up their power to the superintendent. So there's a lot of cleaning house that we need to do in that area. Of course, I would like to see student achievement improve with however we work together to set those standards. I am running for this position because I have been an advocate for students. I'm a licensed special education teacher. I'm working on my PhD in special education. I'm hoping to complete and win the race all at the same time. So I thank you so much for your support. I do believe that in District E, I am the most qualified person for this job. I've been preparing myself for this work for decades, which included educating myself so that I could really understand holistically what is needed in our district. If you would like to learn more about me, I put all my information in the chat, and I do have a canvas this Saturday with Make the Road Action Nevada at 10 a.m. Thank you so much. All my information is there if you would like to talk to me more.
Awesome. Thank you, Camilla. And thank you, everyone, for sticking around. We have two more candidates, and then we're good. But all of these people have been absolutely phenomenal. Anna Marie, I'm getting to you. I'm going to jump to up to Washoe and go to Beth Smith.
Hello, everyone. My name is Beth Smith. I'm going to drop my information here since we have so many emerged siblings on the call. I'm class of 22. So proud of everybody here, and to Camilla, who I remember talking to you about. I think you would be great on the Clark County School District Board of Trustees, so I love that you're doing it. So I am the proud president of the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees. Very, very honored with this endorsement. I'm also the only mom with school-aged kids on our school board here in Washoe County. I was appointed in 2021. I won a special election in 22 to keep the seat, and now I'm running for my District D seat for a 4-year term. My path to this role was 45 little yellow bumblebees, and they were on this big bulletin board outside my older son's kindergarten class. And each one of those little yellow bumblebees represented one child. And yes, if you're tracking that, that means there were 45 kids in my son's kindergarten class. And that was a very eye-opening moment for me because I realized that we had to be loving public education. We have to uplift our children and our teachers. We cannot just criticize and complain and tear education down. We are responsible for building the public education system that we know our children and our community deserves. Because quite frankly, we protect the future of America's democracy by protecting the future of public education. And so what does that look like? Sometimes that looks like loving something and facing the challenges head on, which is something that I believe in very, very much. And some of the things that I've been doing since I've been on the board in 21, since I already am in that role that you're probably wondering, what are those changes that I've helped to bring about? My board was the only board in the entire state of Nevada that put on our legislative platform that compensating our team members as valued professionals was a priority, and it was our top priority. And when we did secure additional funding from the state, we immediately entered into good faith negotiations and delivered a 20% raise to our teachers, which everyone said was impossible, but it is not. If you are spending your money on the things that really matter, and you are serving kids and teachers, you can find a way to cut out the programs and the spending that are not really serving our youth. We also reduced walk zones. Chronic absenteeism is something that is a real issue in Washoe County, as it is across Nevada and the nation. So we saw that our walk zones, particularly in elementary school and middle school, at the far edges of it, had very high chronic absenteeism. So we worked systematically over 2 years. We brought those walk zones down, and now 2,000 more children in Washoe County have access to the bus, and we're seeing some improvement with the chronic absenteeism with that. I'm also a big supporter of career and technical education. We've doubled that program in Washoe County because while all children have a bright future ahead of them, it may not be a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. It may look like the trades, and we need to be celebrating that. And on that note, we also have to recognize that finances and money should not stand in the way of a child's potential. We did an audit here in Washoe County and found that many of our children were not really pushing their academic potential for advanced courses or even taking some of our CTE courses because they could not afford the $75 to $200 fee often associated with the tests at the end of the session or the materials fee. So our board went through our budget, and starting next school year, we have eliminated all fees for advanced placement, international baccalaureate, dual college credit, and all career and technical education. So no more in Washoe County will any of those fees hold a child back from what they want to study and what they want to accomplish. And a couple other things I just want to touch on is educational equity and in learning environments. A huge passion of mine, which we are accomplishing, is rebuilding our schools. So our new schools are not just in our high growth, high earning areas, but also in our neighborhoods that are underprivileged or older neighborhoods. And we have begun that process here in Washoe County and committed $1 billion worth of capital improvement spending so that we can rebuild those schools. So all of our children learn in an environment that reflects the value they bring to our community. And the last shout out that I want to do, because I know we're short on time, is I really want to double down on everything I've heard about early childhood education. Tara mentioned it. So many people mentioned it. We are seeing 5-year-olds walk through the door at a disadvantage because their family didn't have $2,000 a month or access to high quality pre-K. So our board just voted to hire almost 90 early educators, and we're opening 15 pre-K centers here in Washoe County, starting with our first center in August, in addition to the ones we have now, which will serve 100 children alone at that site. So those are the things I believe in. I put all my information in the chat. I walk my talk. I love this work, and I'm incredibly grateful for your support and the support of Nevada Now. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Beth. Phew. That's a lot, Beth. I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed. We can do this down here. We can. We can do this at CCSD. Anna Marie. Last but very much so not least, Anna Marie Binder for CCSD District A.
Thank you. It's really hard to go after all of the say thank you to everyone that's willing to fight in these races and for all of the really great things that we all stand for, because this is how we make Nevada better. So thank you to everyone. I'm Anna Binder, for the record. I'm going to echo back after what somebody else said. I think it was Beth. Like, we can't keep showing up like angry. And I started off very angry and very disappointed, and I didn't know what to do. And so in the early days of trying to get schools to reopen. And it was especially for my youngest at the time, who was nonverbal. He was in the kids program, and during COVID and after COVID, we had a lot of regression and just watching him suffer. And so I was one of those people that was showing up and complaining. And then I went home one night really frustrated and was like, okay, I can keep showing up frustrated, but how do we make change? And so I kind of recentered, regrouped, and realized that if I couldn't get Clark County School District to do something, well, I'm going to go right over their head. So I started stepping over them, and it all kind of goes uphill from there. And I don't think I'll ever stop fighting because of everything you've heard here tonight. All of it is just too important. And people really, our community doesn't put a lot into our school board races because they don't see the value in it. They see the dysfunction. And I really hope that, I think in my years of work with almost Dr. Bywaters, and hopefully Tamika makes it. And then I know we have another Emerge graduate out in District B running, that people like us that have been there watching it all unfold, know how they did it. Like, we can quickly unfold the damage that has been done. And I've been told over the last couple of years, oh, it'll take decades to fix this. And I'm like, yeah, no, it won't. Just give it to me. So, being there and hearing and just knowing, being in that room and just watching has just been so traumatic. I know for me and Camilla, but we know firsthand how that's affected the families in our communities. So, I am proudly the only parent in the state that went up to the Early Childhood Advisory Council almost 4 years ago and asked for a seat at the table, even though I was not governor appointed. And I am currently the only parent in the state that proudly serves on 3 of their subcommittees, helping put in the work to pave a really great road for that universal pre-K, and really prioritizing prenatal to 3. And I've been serving as a parental advocate for Children's Advocacy Alliance for all of those years, and supporting policies that make mother and children's lives better. And so a huge fire for me was when someone told me, like, you're only one person. Like, what do you think you can do? And I just threw it at the wall and I said, watch me. And here we are. And so with people like us, right? Yeah, we can all make a change, even if it's a little here and there. But when we have amazing people like us willing to make those changes, I think we're all in good hands. And I am also very equally proud to have Nevada Now's endorsement. It does mean a lot to me. And I can go on for a really long time as well in the work that I do. And we could be here all night, but I'm last and I don't want to keep anyone. So I also have ample opportunities. My district is Henderson, Boulder City, Searchlight, and Laughlin. I cannot walk it all. I don't expect anyone to walk it all with me, but we phone bank, we walk. I don't want to do the text banking. I think it's really impersonal. And I just get out in the community and continue to make myself available. And I don't think there's anyone who's made themselves more readily available to their community than me over the last 5 years. So this has been really exciting, and I look forward to the continued journey ahead, and getting the reins on CCSD with people that I really also admire and trust and know where their heart is in this race as well. So thank you, everyone, and I'll drop all my stuff in the chat as well.
Thank you, Anna Marie. I think, again, I thank you all for sticking around and going through all this. I think you can see why doing this program was so important. And I will mention Eileen Eady is running for District B in CCSD. She's a longtime activist, a longtime Nevada Now member, and I did put her information in the chat. She has a canvas this Saturday. We don't always know when it's a nonpartisan race. We don't always know who those people are. And I know in the school board races in particular, there's a lot of candidates and a lot of like, oh, what? So these are the people that are going to bring the change that we need in education, in city government, in the court system. and I hope you will all join Nevada Now in supporting these candidates, in doing and reaching out to them, doing whatever you can. If you have friends and family in any of these districts, you encourage them. I talked to a friend of mine this morning. I went through her ballot with her, and so I already told Camilla I got her 2 votes, and then, yeah, so it's important that we get everybody out to the primaries, and early voting starts Saturday, to vote for these absolutely wonderful people. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here with us and sticking with us till this time, because this was kind of a dream meeting for me to have you all get to know these candidates. So thank you,
Stu,
thank you, thank you.
Would you mention that sometimes these races are, won by 10 votes? I mean,
10 votes.
Really
6,
matters.
we've had 6 votes.
Yeah.
So whatever you can do, if you just tell, 5 friends, 10 friends, just, I had somebody tell me today that their daughter wasn't going to vote, but she was going to make her. Just get everybody that gets a ballot in the mail to get out there and vote. You may think it's only a primary, but these are incredible human beings that work their butts off, and deserve to go out there and make the change that this state, this city, these cities, these communities need. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So thank you for sticking around with us, and I hope you all have a good evening.